If you've never seen a Chinese live stream, you haven't lived, because it's pretty nuts.
Some streamers will broadcast simultaneously on hundreds of phones across multiple platforms.
4 girls are in the live stream room, 2 of them trying on clothes and the other 2 assisting. They can showcase a piece of clothing in just a few seconds.
She only spends 3 seconds showcasing the item before moving on to the next one. Zheng reportedly sold over $13.7 million in a week.
He was able to sell $1.9 billion of product in 12 hours.
Live streaming in China is like, it's insane, out of this world, and they make like millions of dollars per a live stream.
I wonder if we'll ever see a world in which live streaming to this degree reaches us here in the West. Maybe sooner than we think. The last few years, we have seen people sharing and commenting on these videos of influencer farms and shopping live streams. And it's so fascinating to not only watch these videos, but also listen to the discourse that surrounds these videos. It has people calling them, dystopian, fake, and just downright depressing and kind of soul-sucking. And I wanted to chat about it in parallel to influencer culture that we see here in the West, and that specific narrative, and how it's kind of shifting, and how there is a lot of discourse online today regarding influencer fatigue and the seemingly luxurious lives of influencers, with their morning routines filled with their matcha lattes, their overpriced Pilates classes, and just that sprinkle of luxury shopping, and how it kind of feels just as fake and manufactured. And it does have me wondering, with the oversaturation of the market, will we see a world soon in which most of the selling in terms of our fashion and our beauty products is done less through these type of, highly orchestrated, very edited TikToks and YouTube videos, and through live streaming like we see exploding in China right now? In today's video, I'll be mainly discussing the influencer factories and the so-called content farms and live streaming in regards to shopping content, and less about just the broader conversation of live streamers that we're seeing on the streets, because I feel like trying to talk about, the growing popularity of these street streaming that we're seeing, but also this shopping content, it was just getting a little bit too complicated for my little brain to be able to deal with. So I do feel like if I was to go ahead and do a video about, the street streaming, that would just be an entire video on its own. I think it honestly deserves an entire video. So let me know if that is something that you would like to see. While we are here, I also do want to take some time to chat about our current social media and influencer landscape in the West, in conjunction with bot farms that artificially inflate engagement. And essentially what we're looking at feels like it's a system of deception. And it has had me wondering, is anything on the internet even real anymore? From the curated lives of some with millions of loyal fans to content factories and live streaming that just seems oddly unnatural. It got me thinking if what we are looking at is just really the same machine, but just in different packages, or even just stages of evolution, if that makes any sense. As you can see, this video is going to be mildly all over the place, okay, a little bit of a hodgepodge of everything. I have a lot to get through, so I do want you to take my strong hand, because truly this video today is going to have so many twists and turns, and I just would hate for you to get lost down here all on your own. So I'm excited to share with you my thoughts, and I'm also excited to hear yours down below. A lot of people are talking about how the internet and social media as we know it is kind of dead. And as someone who creates content and has watched this industry evolve, I've seen firsthand how the pressure to appear authentic while building a brand creates this impossible contradiction. And the more I have woken up to just different ideas over the last few years and trying to improve my social media literacy, the more I realized just how much I've been played. So today, as you take my strong hand, we're going to peel back the curtain of the global influencer machine, from the factories of Asia to the influencer machines of the West, and the bot farms that make social media success appear possible for many. And if you already find yourself side-eyeing influencers and content you see online, by the end of this video, I don't think you'll ever look at influencer content the same again. So let's start with what everyone's calling dystopian. These are influencer farms and live streamers in countries like China, Indonesia, and South Korea, where it appears hundreds of people are in these like individual pods, you know, each with their own ring light and their own smartphones, creating content for hours on end. And there is some speculation whether or not some of this content is indeed real or AI generated. A lot of these videos I found on Reddit. But there has been many articles written up over the years about the rise of these influencer content factories and influencer farms. Think content houses or content studios on steroids. There is also a rise in not only these polished studios, but streaming on the streets all through the day and night. That has exploded in China. But like I mentioned, that's a whole different discussion and rabbit hole that we could go down. But there are companies in China and parts of Asia that have turned this into a science, okay? They scout talent from hundreds of candidates on a regular basis, put them through intense training programs. Think like an influencer social media school. They also manage everything, you know, their content, their sales, their entire online presence. They train these people on camera presence, sales techniques, product knowledge, and watching some of these clips of live streams on TikTok, granted, I don't speak the language, but it's quite the contrast from the way that I'm used to being sold to and how I'm used to being fed content. And look, I don't doubt for a second that there aren't also popular influencers on Rednote, which you may remember hearing about this platform when TikTok got banned in America. You know, so many Americans were just jumping onto Rednote. It's essentially China's Instagram, kind of like TikTok app. But like I said, I don't doubt that there are influencers on Rednote who post more lifestyle videos and just heavily curated, edited, orchestrated productions. But this explosion of live streaming and content factories got me wondering if this is a world that we're headed for. So interestingly, live streaming is where a majority of purchases take place, according to my research. And I just wanted to share with you a little bit of a visual breakdown of live streaming versus non-live streaming KOLs by industry. Hang tight, I will share with you what a KOL is in just a moment. But as you can see, the beauty and the fashion are dominated by live streaming KOLs. While KOLs, which stands for key opinion leaders, and influencers often overlap in today's digital landscape, there are important differences between the two, especially in how they're perceived and used in marketing, particularly in China versus what we see here in the West. A key opinion leader, a KOL, is a trusted expert in a specific niche or field whose opinion can carry significant weight. And the term was popularized in China similar to thought leaders or domain experts. They're built through deep knowledge or credibility, not just popularity. Whereas what we see more commonly here is influencers, which are really just individuals who have the power to affect purchase decisions due to their online following and their lifestyle appeal. It is more of a Western concept tied to our specific social media platforms, typically seen on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. They're built through engagement, relatability, and their content style. All KOLs can be influencers, but not all influencers are KOLs. Brands in China heavily rely on KOLs because of the culture of expert-led trust, whereas here in the West, influencer marketing is more about a vibe and relatability and reach and just how beautiful someone might be and how enticing their lifestyle looks. And that is where I think we're more led here in the West by influencer marketing. You may have seen this viral TikTok of a live streamer, and she is a KOL. And in her live streams, she has managed to rake in a whopping $18.7 million in sales in a matter of days. And this other live streamer here, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Li Jiaqi. He is a prominent Chinese beauty and cosmetics KOL, and he's often referred to as the lipstick king. He's known for his extensive live streaming sessions where he promotes and sells beauty products, particularly lipsticks, on platforms like I think it's called Taobao. I'm so sorry. His streams are renowned for generating massive sales volumes, with some sessions exceeding $1.7 billion in a single day. Can you believe it? With a user base of around 833 million in China, live streaming appears to be the key dominant force in 2025. China's live streaming e-commerce market will continue to be a dominant force in the global e-commerce landscape, with a projected revenue reaching $1.38 trillion. China has very different platforms than we do here in the West, but these live streams, specifically the ones in these polished studios, it's literally selling right in your face, okay? It's the opposite of the selling which I'm used to seeing, mainly through influencers on TikTok.
If you've never seen a Chinese live stream, you haven't lived. So I want to show you what live streams look like in China, because it's pretty nuts.
This one is, I don't know what he's doing exactly, but seems to be cutting wood into circles. The next one here, they're selling candy, and so she's just in a cardboard box, like chucking candy into bags. This one's like a new style. They're kind of rapping about the product while selling it. It's pretty cool. Follow me for more.
然后能用自己能用的洗衣机，专用洗衣机39上车，8块，3件套29。
我会更推荐买短款的，很拉高你腿型啊。
对，27。
51有2个加吗？51有2个加，宝贝有2个加可以买。
品牌袜子要不要？1块5包邮，没了就没了。来，黑子华夫100多，阿迪凉拖100多，樱桃沟200多。
And when someone watches one of these live streams, for instance, they know, I think they do, they know that they're participating in a shopping experience. The streamers might have thousands of viewers all commenting about products, asking questions, making purchases together. It appears to be more about social commerce. There doesn't feel like there is this illusion of personal connection. The relationship is, well, it feels just more transactional. And when I compare it to our influencer culture around shopping and how we are usually sold to on social media through influencers, it looks and feels completely different. Instead of factories and these 24/7 streamers, we get authentic glimpses into real lives. The perfect morning routine, the vulnerable health content, the just like us moments, interwoven with product endorsements that will supposedly fix or solve our problems. And, you know, there is usually an extensive list of affiliate links to go with these videos as well. You may recall an article from the Wall Street Journal that came out, I think it was last year, surrounding a woman named Shana Davis Ross, who is the founder of Ponte Firm, who's been called the Dr. Frankenstein of the influencer industry. Okay, her company essentially manufactures influencer lifestyles, down to the smallest detail. This woman and her agency treat this like a science. And if you check out some of the influencers that she represents, a lot of their content is eerily similar. I will have the article linked down below if you do want to read the whole thing, but it does expose a fascinating element of influencer culture that I think a lot of people have really overlooked for some time, that I think now people are, especially on TikTok, having more of a conversation surrounding just why a lot of influencers, specifically influencers in New York City, almost feel like the same person. We're talking about coordinated workout schedules at exclusive gyms, strategically planned social outings, curated fashion choices, secured restaurant reservations in very trendy neighborhoods. What appears spontaneous is actually more choreographed and scripted than one might have ever believed. These influencers operate as if every aspect of their authentic life is designed for maximum algorithmic appeal and commercial potential. The difference is they're selling the illusion that this is just their natural, normal lifestyle. Agencies and strategy firms are popping up everywhere, and they're ready to manage and grow influencers to the next level of fame. And like I said, this is a science, okay? There is a recipe to this. There is a system that should be followed. I mean, it's no coincidence so many lifestyle influencers tend to look as if they're living the same life. It is in the strategy, my friend. And I don't know about you, but when I started to look into this, it kind of brought to mind a world much like the music industry, where so-called talent can just be like plucked up out from obscurity and made into a star. But in this case, it's a social media star. You know, it's act like this, dress like this, look like this, and you will be popular, okay? We will make the masses love you. But in return, we keep your soul kind of vibe. And although that these types of shopping live streams that are exploding in China, they aren't as popular just yet here, they may be someday. Like right now, we are being sold, I think anyway, with a much softer approach through manufactured authenticity. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think we will see a future where this type of live streaming, these content studios and selling in this way is considered the dominant force? The more that the industry grows and becomes saturated and people get tired of the traditional influencer landscape, I wonder if this is a direction that we will find ourselves in. Like I said, you know, we are already seeing it with people complaining that all influencers act the same.
All right, guys, I'm just gonna say it. I hate all of the New York influencers. I think that they're boring as fuck, and they're all carbon copies of one another. They all wear the same exact bracelets. They all have the same exact handchain that someone else influenced them to get. They all look like they shop on Revolve. They're all just like basic, but they're skinny and pretty, so stuff looks cute on them, but boring. No hate. They just bore the fuck out of me. Does anyone else agree?
Everybody looked the same, they ate in the same restaurants, they wore the same shoes, they had the same hairstyle. It's almost as if people who are chronically online and exist on social media, especially in New York City, are afraid to make any kind of wrong decision when it comes to something even as banal as their footwear.
Do you think we'll see a world in which people are just so fatigued with keeping up with influencers that they would rather just turn to live streams strictly for purchasing as opposed to watching an influencer's life and buying that way? Like I said, I do think that, you know, more of that softer like lifestyle, day in the life with like products just thrown in is very much the dominant force now here. But do you think that live streaming will take over much like it has in China? Will we see a world where not only these studios and farms are the norm, but so is live streaming on the streets for entertainment? Back to popular Western influencers. The comments on these influencers' TikToks and YouTube videos speak to the strong parasocial relationship we experience. You can scroll any influencer's comment section and see things like, I love how real you are. Oh my God, like you feel like my friend. I trust you. You always know what I need to hear. And I wish we could be friends. Just to name a few. And this isn't accidental, okay? It's the entire business model. And I don't speak Chinese, but I'm super curious if we see the same thing in these live streams. These studios that share these shopping videos appear to be mainly shopping focused. Like this woman literally shows the items for like 3 seconds. Who has time to tell her how much they love her and to strengthen that parasocial relationship when you're too busy just trying to get a look at the item that you might want to buy?
10块。啄木鸟的鞋子39。19。这个特别好，恒温杯来一组9块。9块。冬天怕水冷就买它。10块。29。10块。
And a lot of large influencers are being seen now more as businesses disguised as people, which does lead me nicely into the conversations surrounding bot farms. Okay, so if you've never heard of a bot farm before, bot farms are essentially an operation where thousands of fake accounts are created and managed to artificially inflate engagement, followers, and social proof. Bot farms can be physical rooms full of phones running automated scripts or entirely digital. They create fake followers, fake likes, fake comments, fake shares. They can make any piece of content look more popular than it actually is. And don't get it twisted, okay? The scale of this is massive. Studies suggest that anywhere from 15 to 30% of social media engagement is artificially generated. That means that a significant portion of what we see as authentic popularity It's just completely manufactured. And modern bot farms are sophisticated as hell, okay? They don't just spam generic comments, they use AI to generate contextually relevant responses. They create fake backstories, fake photos, fake entire personalities. Some bots are so sophisticated that they're indistinguishable from real users. And we are now in a place where AI influencers exist and people are forming parasocial relationships with AI influencers. Influencers are having their jobs threatened by AI influencers. Bot farms and these AI influencers feed the illusion of authenticity in our influencer culture. An influencer posts content and within minutes it can have hundreds of likes and dozens of comments. And this early engagement signals to the algorithm that the content is popular, so it gets shown to more real users. And more so than ever, I've started to ask myself, how much of this is real? How much of this is genuine? Real users see content that already has high engagement and assume that it must be good, but they're more likely to engage with it themselves. Bot-generated popularity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it goes deeper than just numbers, okay? Bots can be programmed to leave specific types of comments that reinforce the influencer's brand or what they're trying to get across. Comments about how authentic they are, how relatable they seem, how much the commenter relates to their content. And this manufactured social proof makes audiences trust the influencers more. If thousands of people are engaging with their content, people think that they must be worth following. You know, if hundreds of people are commenting about how genuine they are, then they must actually be genuine. We have very much this tribe mentality, and it's this idea of we see a lot of other people thinking something about a certain person, and then we too feel that way. I mean, it's why I'm always fascinated. Like, I'm not going to throw out names now, okay? Because let me tell you now, it's not the time. With some of the things that's going down on social media with these people, I'm just like, let's just wait, Caitlin. Let's just sit on this for a moment. Like, for instance, right now, there's a little bit of drama happening with somebody, and everybody's talking about how wonderful and how amazing this person is. And I'm thinking, am I the only one who just gets this, like, vibe that something's off?
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama.
Bot farms aren't limited to any country either, okay? This is a global industry worth billions of dollars. And the clients aren't just influencers, okay? They're politicians, they're corporations, they're celebrities. Essentially anyone who wants to appear more popular than they actually are. The same technology that makes an influencer look authentic can make a political candidate look more well-loved and supported. Isn't that scary? So as dystopian as these influencer farms and live shopping streams appear, in today's video, it kind of made me realize how we too have our own influencer farms. You know, we are watching influencers who are strategically molded by agencies to be exactly what people want to see. And some who, you know, may even be followed by bots to boost their popularity. Allegedly. And you know, social media platforms claim that they're fighting bot farms, but it's a bit of a cat and mouse game. Because as soon as platforms develop new detection methods, bot farms develop new invasion techniques. And honestly, platforms benefit from inflated engagement numbers. So their incentive to eliminate bots entirely is kind of questionable. The landscape of influencer culture is filled with undisclosed ads, hidden sales, fake intimacy, masking transactional relationships, and all of this is in some cases artificially boosted by bot farms to appear more authentic. I wonder if we'll ever see a world in which live streaming to this degree reaches us here in the West. Maybe sooner than we think. I mean, think TikTok shop, Instagram shopping, YouTube's live shopping. These are all attempts, maybe, to replicate the success of Asian influencer commerce? What do you think? Unfortunately though, like I've said, I think I did a whole video, I have it linked if you haven't seen it. It was just about the evolution of the internet. I was feeling incredibly nostalgic one week and I wanted to kind of go back down a bit of a memory lane of when the internet used to just feel wholesome and lovely. Because whilst researching for this video today, what I realized though, unfortunately, is I think what we're seeing here is just globally a race to the bottom of the trash, okay? Because as the market becomes more saturated, creators feel pressure to go to greater extreme lengths to stand out. I mean, in Asia, it looks like streamers performing in mud, carrying heavy objects while dancing like trained monkeys, or streaming for 24 hours straight under bridges, okay? The desperation is real. And, you know, here in the West, this looks like increasingly personal oversharing, manufactured drama, fake vulnerability, and yes, bot farms to artificially boost engagement. The desperation is just hidden behind this veneer of authenticity. So what does this mean for us as consumers of this content? It means that almost everything we see on social media is manufactured to some degree. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but let's be honest, it's probably already burst. The authentic moments, you know, the genuine recommendations, the real connections, much of it is designed to make us buy things or feel a certain way.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new mococo drink? All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
And as a lot of you know, over the last few years, how I consume content has changed, and I don't think I'm at all alone in that. And now more than ever, when I see an influencer's morning routine now, I don't see authenticity. I see a commercial. You know, when I see high engagement on a post, I wonder just how much of it is actually real. And I think developing better media literacy will continue to be a priority for me. When I see content with massive engagement, I ask myself, is this even organic? You know, when I see an influencer's authentic moment, I ask, who benefits from me seeing this? What is the motive behind what I'm seeing? I'm trying to be more and more aware of this every single day, and it's really hard. It's really hard. At the end of the day, we can choose to support creators who are transparent about their business models, who don't hide behind fake authenticity, and who treat their audience with respect rather than as just puppets to be manipulated. The future of content creation doesn't have to be this dystopian. We can demand transparency. We can do so by choosing with our views and our time who we choose to support. And let's be real, okay? The question isn't whether Asian or Western influencer culture is more authentic or better. It's whether we want to be as actively involved in this system to begin with. And I think that the more we fill our lives with, the less that we have time to consume and care about a lot of what goes on social media. Okay, don't get me wrong. I love what social media has done for certain areas of my life. I love that it's given me pen pals from all over the world and people that I get to meet when I travel to certain countries. That's just one thing to name many. But I think a lot of us can do with more balance in our lives. And I think that that starts with spending less time on our phones and filling more of our real lives with things that make us happy and bring us joy. I'd love to hear from you. Would you prefer this type of model, like a somewhat QVC style shopping culture, more emphasis on hard and obvious selling in these live streams and less lifestyle, soft and subtle selling? Let me know your thoughts on this below. I'm going to have a few more links for you there if you want to check those out. Thank you so much for joining me in today's discussion. I can't wait to hear what you have to say in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.